What's going on, everybody? My name is Salem Soni, and you are listening to The Mind Speaks. So, I was in this almost place of joy mixed with some form of anxiety, but uh, when I was contemplating what to say and what I wanted to share with you guys. But here's the exciting part, and I will share also why there was a level of nervousness. The exciting part is because I've come to a place where I'm getting more and more comfortable with the idea of uh, where I'm trying to go, like some of my future goals, and the anxiety sometimes that also is created with that thought process, with that understanding, is the fact that sometimes your current reality does not reflect where you see your future being. And I want to share this with you guys because in the Mind Speaks in this series, I want to talk about really a lot of the inner conversations we have, especially for those of you guys who are trying to do great things with your life. I don't mean that you have to become a president, an astronaut, or a lawyer or a doctor, but you want to do something more than what you thought was possible or what your current reality or your environment dictate that is doable, feasible for someone like you. So, that being said, your mind will play a role in impacting how you shape your belief level. That being said, I think the mind speaking to you or what type of conversation you must be having with your mind is so vital, more critical than you think. With that in mind, I really wanted to talk about this, right? So the reason I'm excited is because I was speaking to my girl, and as we're speaking, I was kind of letting her know that here are some things I've put something more clear of some of the goals that I want. I did an exercise that I would even encourage some of you guys to do. I took a piece of paper, and I put down what would my dream life look like? What would the best life that I could possibly afford look like? I mean, I wouldn't even use the word possibly afford, just my dream life. What would it look like? And I put down, like, for example, financially, how much would it cost me to live that type of lifestyle? I put it down on paper. And this is my dream life. So I'm free to think however wild I want to think. I'm free to think however a big or small or excited or not. I mean, it is my dream, right? So when you're thinking, when you're dreaming, don't limit your dream based on maybe your current financial situation, your family, your background, your education level. It is a dream. Dream wild. You know what I mean? Think big. So this is not necessarily a motivation per se. There's some level of motivation to what I say, but back to my dream level. So I was writing down the type of home that I want to live in, how much I want to be able to support ministry, how much I want to be able to travel and see different parts of the world, to go help do a lot of nonprofit work, what type of cars do I want to drive, where do I want my children to go to school, what type of work do I want to do? I want to build a couple things. I want to run a couple businesses. I want to have this and that. So I was kind of putting down all these different things, like what would that life look like? The expenses. I mean, if I want to have this type of car, I want to have a driver. If I'm going to have a maid or a butler, like I put all these different things together. Hey, listen, don't hate on me, right? It's my dream. You dream as well. So I put these things down, and then I put a financial number to it, right? Like how much would it cost to drive this car? How much would it cost if I want to give 6 figures in tithing? Like, what does that look like? How much I would need to make in that? If I want to build an orphanage, like this is how much it would cost for me to build. Here are the monthly costs. If I want to live in this type of house with this amount of square footage, this is what, you go on Zillow.com, this is what it usually goes by. Like, this is how much money I need. If I need to be able to build this is how much the investment will cost. This is how much the lease on this particular building, like all these different things. I started putting the cost, like this car would cost this much. If I'm leasing this vehicle will cost this much. Hiring a driver costs this much. Having a maid costs this much. Like I started putting all these numbers because I finally wanted to have a target. So this was an exciting process. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, like this is, I know sometimes people can be afraid of like financial things because it could be daunting. It could be like, wow, this is crazy. But remember, like I told you, this is a dream. We're our dream life. Think big. And it doesn't have to be like me, right? Maybe you could care less about having a butler or a maid. You want to cook your own stuff. Like, you don't want somebody walking around the house trying to help you out. I mean, this is not the, 1800s. But for me, this was part of my dream. And I mean, currently, this is my dream life as of 2018, right? All that could change, as I'm exposed to new things and I'm seeing new places, as I have different experiences, right? So your dream can shift. I think your ultimate purpose and your goal doesn't, but maybe what you put a lot more emphasis on could possibly change. So as I was thinking about that, and I finally put a number to it, and I'm not necessarily going to share what that number is like because I don't think it's really necessary. It doesn't matter, right? Your number will be different than anybody else's number. So don't worry about what your number is compared to someone else. That's really irrelevant. But the part that was exciting was for me when I put the number down and I started realizing that the financial status that I wanted to achieve was so far beyond what I really even needed to live my dream life. You know what I mean? Like I calculated all these different things. It gave me a number, and I was like, oh, I want to. Like I've always had this idea in my head that I wanted to become this type of person, making this amount of money per year. And I thought that if I achieved that kind of amount of money that was arbitrary, that I would have so much joy. But now when I put down my dream life, the wildest amount of dream life, even if I doubled the cost for me to live the wildest I could possibly think of right now, it would be so minuscule compared to the level of finance that I thought I needed to achieve previous to that for me to be happy. What's the point of all this, Salem? What are you trying to say? I'm trying to say that I was excited about the fact that, okay, I want to have impact, have influence, have financial freedom, have a lot of financial influence in this particular level. But that was an absurd number that didn't really have a real target, a real goal to it until I was able to finally go ahead and calculate what my dream life would look like. Many of us, here's where the anxiety started kicking in for me because I was looking at my current reality and I was like, whoa, this arbitrary fake number that I had here that was just imaginary even to say came out of thin air. That number now is seen so far away where the dream life started to become more practical, right? For me, my dream life, I was like, okay, I only need to make this amount of money per month. Okay, this has become practical. What are the things that I can do to start achieving this money? Like, what are the jobs? What are the businesses? What are the things I need to own, invest in? What are the different things that can help me reach this level? And I started breaking them down. Okay, for this amount of time, I can invest in this and this and this. I can own this type of business and the return, the revenues, the profits on here. And I started adding and started stacking up and it started going over and over. And I started realizing, okay, this number is more realistic because the big arching number that I had here, that seemed like it was too far-fetched. It didn't even make sense. Because even if I reach that level, like, I have to have something more than just my dream life. And this is the next part of what I want to talk about. I'll get back to it, but let's stick with this first, right? Like, I was looking at all that and I'm like, this is crazy. And I started becoming more anxious about the fact of like, yo, why are we thinking like that? Why we've been programmed? Like, here's something I heard somebody say one time. He said, most people don't want to be millionaires. Most people do not want to be millionaires. They just want the type of life that they think millions of dollars would afford them. Most people don't want to be millionaires. We just think that if I'm a millionaire, I will be able to do this, this, and this. I'm going to tell you something, right? I told you I'm not going to tell you what my number was, but I'm going to tell you this. The amount of money that I needed to make per month for me to do my dream life, if I take that number and I multiply by 12 months, I don't even have to make $1 million a year for me to live my dream life. No, I don't even need to. Like some of you guys may be like, oh, yo, Salem, definitely his number must be wild. No, I don't really if I make less than $1 million a year, I could live well above my dream life. Well above my dream life. Making less than $1 million a year. But I mean, I have aspiration to make millions of dollars, right? And I still do. Even after having this exercise, after looking at the numbers, I still do want to make millions of dollars. You might be like, whoa, Salem, well, you looked at the number. Why would you still want to make millions of dollars? Because the things I want to do are far above my dream life. Are far above things that are only related to me. I want to impact generations. I want to impact things that are so beyond just me, my kins, folks, the people around me, even my countrymen, even people who look like me. I want to impact far beyond my small circle of influence. That's why the financial target that I've put on myself is this high. And that was the part where I started having peace. And this is what I want to share with you guys. You need to come to a level where you're at peace. And believing will only come whenever your vision of what you're trying to do with the money completely aligns with you. Not with what you've seen other people do, or with what some internet people have shown you, some Instagram success stories, whatever business you might be part of. They've told you these different things, the school system, politics. Forget all that. The moment your belief level, even if you're part of some kind of religious organization or some kind of religious views, the moment your belief level, your purpose, what God has deposited in you starts to align with how you see the possession of the money coming into your life, and it's in that particular moment that you start to live beyond yourself. That when I started doing the exercises, I realized for me to be quote unquote selfish and live my dream life, even if I dreamed that life as wild as I could and I doubled that amount of money, I still didn't need to make $1 million for me to live my dream life. Think about that. That's crazy. That's crazy. Like I didn't need to make $1 million. I didn't make $1 million. That's wild to me. Right? But regardless of that, regardless of not having to make $1 million, I started realizing I still wanted to make way more than $1 million. Millions of dollars. Even beyond that. But I mean, that's for another particular video. But the reason why I'm talking to you about this is because as I was thinking about where I feel like God is calling me, the purpose He's deposited in my heart, I started realizing that it is so far beyond me that now it makes sense why there was this arbitrary number that I'm trying to reach, because the things that I'm trying to achieve are far beyond even what I'm trying to do for myself, my family, my kids, my future wife, my future kids, even my parents, my sisters, all these different things. What I'm trying to do is so far beyond that it makes sense that I need to have some level of high financial influence to be able to accomplish different things. Maybe it might not be me having the money, but it could be having the influence over people who do have that kind of money to be able to accomplish this different type of projects and goals. So this is one of these different things where a podcast, video, audio that maybe you might be playing this in your car, you're listening to it on work, you're watching this on YouTube, whatever the case where you're listening to this, all I want to tell you, wherever you might be in Europe, in Africa, North America, you might be in Australia, you might be in Asia, you might be in South America, no matter where you find yourself, realize that God has deposited a purpose in you that is so specific to you that no one else on earth would be able to accomplish it as precisely and with the amount of perfection that you will. It's perfectly tailored to you. That's what God deposited in you. That very dream, that very purpose is in alignment with you. And with that purpose, with every vision comes a provision to be able to accomplish the vision that was given. So I don't want you to ever feel guilty for wanting a certain amount of money, because you know that it's going to help you accomplish these different things you have in your head, these different goals that you want to do. I don't want you to ever feel guilty, even if it doesn't align with what the family where you grew up, the neighborhood where you grew up, the type of societal norms where you might have been raised upon, your co-workers at work who don't believe in your dreams, your goals. You're trying to do this music thing, you're trying to do this engineering, you're trying to be a writer, you're trying to be an athlete, you're trying to do an engineer, you're trying to create an app, you're trying to go to be an astronaut, go to the moon, conquer Mars, whatever the case may be. Believe in it, because God has deposited something that is so specific in you. He's also going to bring along the way the financial things that's going to help you accomplish whatever that goal is. And never confuse the money that you will need for you to live the wildest things, so you to enjoy, for you to quote unquote feel selfish and enjoy your life. That money is going to be cool, but realize that if your life is only about acquiring the money to make your life feel cool, that's going to be so much less compared to what is assigned to you to be able to handle and have, that is so far beyond yourself, for the projects that are bigger than you, for the vision and the goals that are far beyond yourself. That is the mind that speaks. That's all that I have for you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel Salem Soni. Share this to someone else. Have them think about this. If you like this, give this video a thumbs up, or give this audio, this podcast, also rate it up. I love you guys. Remember, you're God's very best. Take care.